I often wonder how I'm still here, alive, breathing, standing. If you had seen me years ago, the boy with torn shoes, an empty stomach, and eyes that carried more sorrow than hope, you would never have believed that I'd survive long enough to tell this story. There were nights when hunger clawed at me so fiercely I thought my body would give up. Nights when rain poured through the holes in our roof, soaking my books, and I curled up beside my sisters, whispering lies like, "Tomorrow will be better," but deep down, I wasn't sure if tomorrow would ever come. Life was cruel to me from the beginning. My father vanished before I understood what the word father even meant. My mother, frail yet strong, worked in the market all day just to keep us alive. She would come home with cracked hands, too tired to eat. But she still smiled, still told me, "Daniel, knowledge is your way out. Hold on to your books, like a drowning man holds a rope." So I studied under a flickering streetlight. I solved math on the back of newspapers. I whispered lessons to my sisters as though teaching them would make me stronger too. But at school, the world mocked me. They laughed at my torn uniform. They jeered when my stomach growled in class. They called me the charity case. I said nothing. I clenched my teeth and whispered to myself, one day they'll see. When I turned 15, my mother fell ill. Her coughs rattled the walls at night. We had no money for medicine, so I worked. I shined shoes on the roadside. I hawked groundnuts under the scorching sun. I carried loads in the market until my back felt like it was breaking. Some people cheated me. Some threw insults as if I wasn't human. One man threw his muddy shoes at me and said, "Clean it, poor boy." "That's all you'll ever be good for." I bent down, and I cleaned them anyway. But even with all my efforts, my mother grew weaker. One night, I held her hand as her breathing slowed. Her eyes found mine, and with a trembling whisper, she said, "Daniel, don't let life break you. Be patient, be strong. Your time will come." And then, she was gone. That night I wept like a child abandoned in the wilderness. I wanted to quit, to disappear, but the sound of my sisters crying pulled me back. I realized I was all they had left. I became more than a brother. I became a father, a provider, a shield. Every morning I sold bread before school. Every afternoon I tutored children for coins. Every night I studied until I fell asleep on my books. I often wondered how much pain a single heart could endure. But somehow, against all odds, I won a scholarship. A teacher had seen my hunger, not the hunger of my stomach, but the hunger in my soul. That scholarship carried me to university, and for a moment, I thought my struggles were over, but they were only just beginning. At university, I was surrounded by students from wealthy families. They had cars, laptops, nice clothes, and me. I had one pair of jeans, secondhand shoes, and barely enough to eat once a day. There were nights I lay on my bed, tears soaking my pillow, whispering, "God, why me? Haven't I suffered enough?" But I remembered my mother's words, "Be patient, be strong. Your time will come." So I buried myself in books. I studied harder than anyone. Soon, professors noticed me. Students came to me for help, and some will give me money after helping them. As for my sisters, they were never lazy. They sold anything they could lay their hands on at the market to support themselves. That way I don't have to worry much about them. Together at night, we encourage ourselves and prepare for the next day's storm. When I graduated, I was top of my class. But still, the world didn't make it easy. I worked as an intern. I earned next to nothing, but I worked like my life depended on it. Early mornings, late nights, and yet I was overlooked, passed over, rejected. People whispered, "He'll never make it. He's just a poor boy trying too hard." But deep inside, I was building a dream. I wanted to create something bigger than myself, something that could help others like me. So I began to sketch an idea, a solution to a problem that had crippled my community for years. I pitched it to investors. They laughed. They said, "Impossible, too risky, you're too young, you're too poor." I lost count of how many doors closed in my face, but I didn't quit, because I could still hear her voice. "Don't let life break you." And one day, one man finally listened, a man who had once been poor himself. He looked me in the eye and said, "I believe in you." That was the spark I needed. With his support, my idea grew, slowly, painfully, but it grew. The boy with torn shoes had become the man with vision. The boy who studied under a streetlight was now lighting the way for others. And the first thing I did, the very first thing, was buy a home for my sisters. A home with strong walls, a roof that did not leak, and a table that never went empty. I stood in that doorway, listening to their laughter, and I looked up at the sky. With tears in my eyes, I whispered, "Mama, I made it, so here I am." Not because I was the smartest, not because I was the strongest, but because I refused to give up. Life will test you, it will mock you, it will starve you, it will push you to your knees and make you believe you are nothing. But if you endure, if you are patient, if you refuse to break, your time will come. I am Daniel, and I am living proof that resilience and patience can turn pain into